So in today's lesson, I want us to uh, look at lesson 3, which is understanding the steps in running the React app. So we want to take some time and understand what normally happens when you type the command npm start. How does the React start running the application until it opens it in the browser like this, so that when you have those step-by-step understanding, then you are in a better position to troubleshoot in case there is any errors. All right, so the first thing that happens when you type npm start, or when you run the program, the React application, the first thing that happens is that npm, which is also known as is a short form for node package manager. So the npm inside the package.json, it first starts and runs the command react script start. So this uh, npm finds this command within the json.package, package.json, and it looks for this command called react script start. So it starts running this command. When you go to your project, you're going to see that there is this file called package.json. When you open it, you're going to see under the section of scripts, you're going to see that there is this script called start. So this is the script that starts the application when you run it. We will look at these other scripts here as we progress with the lessons. But for now, I want you to know that under this script, this particular script called react script start is the one that runs the React application once we type the npm command. So the npm will look for this script and run it. Then this command, once it is triggered, the command will set up the dev server, which is the local development server, which acts like the live server. Once the live server is started, the live server will now load the index.html file. And we said that in a React app is a single page application. What that means is that it has only one HTML file, and it is in this one HTML file that we will be able to display all our HTML content. So this live server will look for this index, for this file called index.html, and locate it. So when you go to your project again, you will see that under this folder called public, when you expand it, you will see that there is a file called index.html. So this is the file that will be displayed. This is the file that is currently being displayed here and is able to display any content that we write. So once that file is located and it is found within your app, this file has a single def element, and you can see that it has, when you open this file, you can see that it has this one element called div with the ID root. So it has an ID root. I believe you know the HTML and you know the concept of giving elements an ID. So within this element is where the content will be displayed. All right. Then after that, the JavaScript will, this dev server will start by looking for another file called the index.js. So the index.js is normally the entry point for any application, or it is the starting point for the application. So when you go to your code, you will see that once you create a new React app, there is this file which is automatically generated for you called the index.js. When you open it, you will see that it has this basic code. We will explain this code, what it does. So it has react dom.create, it gets document.getElement by ID, and then it gets root. So when it gets get element by ID with an ID root, it is referring to this element, to this def element, which is inside the index.html. You can see this def element has an ID root. So in the index.js, we are referring to that element. And then after we get that element, we render the component. We render the component within that element. Components, we are going to explain them in the next clip. So the main component, when you create a JavaScript, I mean a React app, by default it will create one component for you. And what is that component? The component that it will provide for you is called app component, which is having the file here app.js. So when you open this app component, you will see that it has the code. It has the code which is being displayed here. So we are taking this code. You see, this one is just a JavaScript function which returns HTML. So this HTML must be rendered within this HTML file, and therefore when we start the program, it will look for the index file, and the index file will get this root element, and then after getting that root element, it will render, or it will display the app component within that root element, which is the div element in the index.html. So that is the steps it takes when you run the React application, and you can see it is more presented here in a diagram. So when you type the command npm start, you will see that first of all we are running the script which is in the package.json. Then after that we are starting the dev server. Then after that we get the HTML, we load the index.html file which has got that one dev element with the ID root. Then after that we look for index.js, which is the entry point for your React app, and that index.js will render the app component, which is the component that contains the user interface. And then after that your application is displayed in the browser and you're able to view it in this manner. Alright, so I'll pause here and then give you room for questions. In case you want to ask where it is not clear, you can ask before we go to the next lesson called the React JSX. Any question? Right, if there is no question, then I can pause this clip here before we can go to the next clip.